What's going on, everybody? This is Al from PlaybookGamer.com. And in the last Dynasty video, we went through our first off-season of our Coach Dynasty. We're currently with Louisiana Monroe. We've done all of our recruiting. We've done some position changes. And now we're ready to start our second season of the Dynasty. This is year 2024. We're going to go through our preseason shenanigans today. So let's start off going to preseason options. And let's look at the custom schedule. I have already set this up, so let's look at it. New Mexico, week 1. Normally, I like to have a bye week in that week 1, but the reason why I've done that is because I want to end my season against my arch-rival, Louisiana Lafayette, which we'll look at here in a minute. But we're going to start off with New Mexico at home, and then we're going to have 2 really tough road games against a couple of powerhouses. At number 12, Miami. At least they were a powerhouse back in the 2000s, the 90s, and such. Still going to be a really tough game. And then we're going to head straight to Austin, Texas to take on the number 2 Longhorns. So pretty much a similar schedule what we done last year. 2 really tough road games against ranked teams. And then we're going to head right into our conference schedule. Arkansas State at Southern Miss. Marshall at home. And then we have Texas State. Then we got an open date in week 8. Then we're going to go right to South Alabama. At Appalachian State, we're going to have Army come here. I had to pick another non-conference game. I put it right here instead of right there. I didn't want 3 straight home games, and I put it right there mainly because of recruiting. We needed another home game because that is our last home game of the season because we're going to finish out the schedule at Troy and at Louisiana Lafayette. I think the original schedule that it gave me a game right here, and I had to flip a couple of those open dates, and I just like having the end of my season end in the conference, and especially against my arch rival. So I think that's a pretty cool schedule. It's been forever since I went up against a triple option team like Army, and we got to go up against Miami and Texas, which should be a whole lot of fun. Hopefully we can come through that without any injuries and maybe an upset or two. That'd be pretty cool. So let's go to redshirt players. I'm not redshirting anybody. I've done the same thing in the previous season. Like, for example, in here, with the mod, as long as they don't play more than 4 games and they're not a redshirted player, like Eric Johnson, this freshman, as long as he doesn't play more than 4, the game's going to automatically redshirt him. So there's really no point in me redshirting these kids when the game could do it for me. But I still kind of need to monitor how these players are doing in terms of how many games they played and such, in case I do want to see them redshirt. So we're going to just skip all the redshirt players. We don't have to do it. What I do want to do is go to rosters, and we're going to look at our depth chart. I've already set this up as well. Actually, let's go to view and edit. Yeah, let's go to view and edit rosters first. This is our team as a whole. Here are our top 6 or so players. They're all defensive guys. So our defense is what's going to probably keep us in a lot of these games this year. Our top player, Andre Mack, he's a senior. Then you just keep on going. Diggers, Vigers, and Felton, and so on and so forth. But you go to each position. We got a decent little group here. It's going to be hard to replace Wright when we had last year, but Blake Murphy's going to be our starter. You look at our halfbacks, Thad Franklin. I put him as an impact player. Tanner Odom is our true freshman halfback. He's going to play behind him. I just want to just go through this real briefly because we got to look at our depth chart. Wide receiver, we got a good little group here, about 4 or 5 guys that all kind of look the same in a sense. You go to our tight ends, we don't play them. Look at our tackles. We're in good shape here this year. We got a couple of seniors. We need to replace those guys. Guards. You look here, we got a bunch of guards, but our top 2 guys, again, are seniors. But we got a true freshman as a Marion Brown, who's going to be a good backup for us, and will start next year more than likely. Center, we got a senior and a junior. You look at the defense. This is where a lot of our talent is at. 82, 80, 78. Just a pretty good group. A lot of bodies here. We got 4 dudes here, defensive tackle, one's a freshman, a sophomore, junior, and a senior, which is a good distribution, but we got to pick up another body sometime in this recruiting class. Outside linebacker, the best dudes we picked up in the recruiting class is transfer Dalton Brooks, and I still need to go look him up and see where he transferred from. I changed his number. I like to change jersey numbers to incoming players that are probably going to be an impact guy of some sort, not an impact player per se, but a guy who's going to make a difference for us more than likely. I think Dalton Brooks will. Maybe not this season because we got some dudes ahead of him this year. But the true freshman, Keenan Parker, this is the 4-star kid. I changed his number to 12. I just want to give them like single and those little lower numbers. I think those guys are going to be real studs for us here in a couple of seasons. Middle linebacker, we're kind of okay here. I'm trying to translate into the 3-4. I just need some more bodies as we'll look in the recruiting process. Corner, we got a ton of dudes here, but a bunch of seniors. We got 2 guys coming back unless I can redshirt one of these seniors to bring him back. Like, it's possible I may need to do that for Lou Tillery or something. So what we probably need to do is go back and change that and actually force a redshirt on him again, because we're losing so many guys after this year. Now you see why I was wanting to pick up a couple of corners in our last recruiting class. We got a bunch of free safeties. Hardly any of these guys are going to play outside of MAC, of course, but we can. I don't have to redshirt these because we know they're more than likely coming back unless they want to transfer out, which I guess is possible. Strong safety, we're in pretty good shape here. We got a couple of decent dudes. I could sprinkle in some 3-3-5 if I don't forget to do it. When it comes to kicker, we got 2 really bad players. We got a true freshman, Jimmy Shannon. I love his number. That's what the game gave him, is 76. I think I want to keep it. I just think it's goofy. Punter, he's just terrible as well. So I think, while it's on my mind, let me go quickly to program standards. We're in great shape here. We got 45 points to play with. That should be enough to mitigate things throughout this season. But let me go right back to the redshirting with our corner position. I think it's just a need because we got so many guys leaving. So you go to the cornerback position. I'm going to redshirt Tiller. We're going to force him to come back. Now, he still may want to transfer out. I hope he doesn't. But we're going to need him next year along with a couple of these young guys behind him. So we're in pretty good shape. You know, I could probably redshirt Stevenson if I wanted to. We got so many bodies. I think this is probably a good idea. But the rest of them, I think I'm going to leave as is. So we're going to have these redshirt. And now what we're going to do is go to Athlon Sports. We're going to go to preseason polls. Ohio State, Texas, Clemson, Michigan, Georgia, LSU, Florida State, USC, Utah, and Alabama round out your top 10. I wonder where we're at. We're probably like in the 60s, if I had to guess. We in the 60s? No. They got us 74th in the country. C overall, C- on offense, which is something we're going to really focus on here in recruiting. And special teams is at a C. So let's go over to Heisman Watch. Curious to see who's going to be on here. Look at that. Deion Sanders, boy. Shadir Sanders is at top of the list. Then we got Cade Klubnik for Clemson. Then we got Jimmy Horn, the wide receiver for Colorado. So they must have put up some numbers last year for them to get noticed this season. Then we got Jalen Milroe for Alabama is on the list. And we got Dorian Singer for USC. We'll see how much of this will change throughout the season. Let's go to preseason All-Americans. I don't expect to have anybody on this list from us, but look who, wow, that's pretty cool. A UAB quarterback is a first-team All-American. I'm just looking to see here. Oh, look at that. Kendrell Lewis, our starting left tackle, is a first-team All-American. That is interesting. I was not expecting that. I'm just quickly going through these. We're going to go up against this kid here in a couple of weeks against Elliott Washington of Penn State. No, that's right. We're going against Miami. Penn State was an option. I almost went with them, but I decided to go with Miami because it's prettier down there, and I want to give my team a nice little road trip, a little vacation, more or less, and we recruit in Florida. That's the only reason. Otherwise, I would have gone up against Penn State. Second team, would we have anybody on here? Wow, we got 2 tackles on there somehow. So our 2 starting tackles are All-Americans. Who would have thunk it? I guess our run game is doing its job last year. I don't know. Interesting and weird. Let's go to the Sun Belt and see what we got here. So wide receiver, Allred Luke. He's going to be our slot receiver. Again, this year, he's our special teams guy. Of course, Lewis. And we got a guard right there. Mickle, our starting left guard. And Wilkins. You go to cornerback, Lou Tillery. They got him, which is interesting. They got him as a first-team all-conference, but I'm going to redshirt him because, again, of our depth issues for next year. But Andre Mack's a first-team all-conference. That makes complete sense. You go to second team, we probably have a couple guys on here, maybe. No, they're all first-teamers. All righty. Let's go to Conference Outlook. And this is interesting. They have us predicted to win the entire conference. I wonder, you know, Southern, I didn't even see, I should have went back and looked. I didn't even see who won our conference last year. I'll have to go back and look at the video and see who did. I know Southern Miss won our division. I just don't know who they went up against. I'll have to go back and look at it. Either way, they have us predicted to win the entire conference. That's a lot of pressure. Let's go to toughest places to play. This isn't going to affect us You see all of these right here. We will never have our little stadium on there. But what's cool is they added, if I'm not mistaken, I think they added all of these where you can see where everybody is at. I think in the base game, you can only see the top 25. And there we are, Malone Stadium. We're slowly moving up the ranks. I don't know where we were last year. I didn't think to look at this at the beginning of our dynasty. But either way, it's pretty cool just to see us on there. I think we're ready to recruit. So let's talk about recruiting. This is going to be interesting now. Think about what happened with our first recruiting class. Like 85% of our players were defensive guys. And I don't know. I'm hoping that's not what happens in the next offseason. If it does, then that's kind of a problem. Maybe I'm hoping it's because we just had a lot of bodies coming back on the offensive side. I don't know. It's just really weird. Either way, you look at our team overview screen, and we need another halfback. If I can find a better quarterback, I'm going to. You got to have a good quarterback play, especially in our offense. Wide receiver, we got 6 dudes coming back, but I still wouldn't mind finding one if I can. Because, again, I don't know if the offseason, if we're going to find any receivers that really want to come here. I'm really going to have to boost up my passing yards in order to get them excited to come. I don't know. It's just going to be weird, but what I do know is we need a lot of help on the offensive line. We're losing, I think, all 5 starters right now are seniors. We need to really boost this as much as possible. Middle linebacker, again, I'm trying to go to the 3-4, and we only got 2 coming back, but I can definitely move an outside linebacker to middle linebacker if need be. I'm not too worried about finding middle linebackers in the offseason. Cornerback, I'm not too worried about that either. We'll just see, but I really want to focus this in-season recruiting on the offensive side of the ball. So that's what we're going to do. First thing I want to look at is our pipelines. What are they? Have they changed? Real quickly go through these. Florida is still a pipeline. I think I'm going to keep it as such. I think it's in our best interest to do so. Georgia used to be, but it's not anymore, which doesn't hurt my feelings. You can get a lot of talent out of Georgia, but we got other states to work with, including our own Louisiana. We're going to try to get as much as we can from there. Mississippi, I want to make it a pipeline, and it is. There's not a ton of talent in there, but I'm still going to look them through and see if we can find somebody. Texas is our other big one. We'll keep on going. I think that'll be the only one that's left. Yes, Texas is a pipeline. We're going to hit it as hard as we can. And that should be it. The only other pipeline I would like to have is Arkansas. But as you can tell, Arkansas doesn't produce a lot of talent. I'm going to have to recruit that even harder if I want to make that a pipeline. We'll just see what happens with that. But let's go to our state first. I always like to just do the pipelines. Quarterback, we need some speed here. If I could find one, that'd be great. Now, I'm not going to recruit any 4-star here. I don't mind doing that in the off-season. But in season, I like to stick with 3-star and below. Probably just nothing but 3-star kids. So I'm not seeing anybody here. Both of these kids are pocket passers, so they're not going to really fit what we're wanting. Here's a 1-star halfback. I'm not going to bother. Let's go to wide receiver. Here's a 2-star kid. His awareness is awful. I don't know if he can catch the ball or not. He's really small, and he's not very fast either. And that's one thing I need to go. Let's just go over here to my website, and I need to find. I'm going to go to Dynasty mode, and we're going to show you this. I hinted at this a little bit in the off-season video. I'm going to go here, and I'm going to try to zoom this in if I can. Not that far. Here we have our conversions, our rating conversions for the game, and the next guy's updated the 40 time for this mod. So one of the easiest things to look for is you look at 90 speed. It's going to be about a 4.4. So that kind of gives you a gauge. You look at the 80, it's about a 4.6. So 4.6 to 4.4, that's kind of where some of those guys are going to be at. So it just kind of gives me an idea what to look for right there when I'm looking at this. So this kid right here runs a 4.52, which means he has like 85 speed, which is okay for a receiver. But in our case, I'm going to move on. Let's go to tight end. We don't need anybody here. Tackle, we need some bodies. Now, here's the problem. This guy's too small, 6'5", 247. If he weighed 347, I'd definitely go after him. Now, he looks pretty strong, but again, he's just too small. Let's keep going. Guard, a 1-star kid. I'm just not going to bother. He's definitely got the size. Now, this is interesting. 405, 640. And then we got this kid right here, 500, 665. This kid looks like an absolute stud, but his awareness is so bad. We pass a lot. I mean, like, I would love to get this kid, but I just don't know if it's worth it. I'm going to keep on going. Center, nobody. Defensive end. Okay, I'm actually going to skip all the defensive guys because, again, I think we really need to focus on offense, especially if the game's going to bypass us and not let me recruit any offensive guys in the offseason, which, again, I hope it does not happen. And if it does, that's an issue. Let's move on. I'm going to go all the way to all. And we didn't see anybody there we liked that of on the offensive side for us. Let me go over to Texas. Let's start here. Quarterback. There's a bunch of quarterbacks to look at. I need to look for some speed. All these guys are slow. Here's a 4.84. And a 4.84 is a what? That's a 70 speed. That's not fast enough for me. So I'm going to bypass Renato Handy, which is a great name, by the way. Let's go to halfback. Some 3-star kids. I wouldn't mind finding somebody with a little bit of speed. Like, this kid right here looks pretty good. Bubba Lawrence, 6'1", 230, but runs a 4.41, and he's pretty strong. I'm going to look at him. Who else do we got? Here's some more 3-stars. A bunch of 3-stars. Interesting. 4.39. He's not the smartest. This kid right here, Rotus Mang. But he's got some speed to him. I'm going to go ahead and go after him. The other ones, like this kid runs a 4.30 or 4.3. That's ridiculously fast. Should I bother going after him? I'm not sure. Let's just keep on going first. We've only got 10 scholarships left. These two, I really need somebody who could break a tackle or two. That's just a big deal for me. So that's why I kind of want to go after a couple of those guys. I don't know. I think what I may end up doing, let me do this instead. Let's just take a chance on this kid instead of that one. And I may go back to Mang later if we got another spot. Wide receiver, let's look at some 3-star kids. 4.41. One of these two can do it. 6'7", 198. Imagine him on the outside. You got Jordan Glenn. Not as fast either, but he's a little bit smarter. This guy, a little bit stronger. Let me just go after him for now. I may just go after one receiver, maybe two, because we got a bunch of bodies coming back. Let's look at tackle. A couple 2-star kids. Like, this kid's not very strong. This kid's really strong, but he's a 4-star kid. Let me go on. Guard. And it goes straight from 5 to 2-star for the Texas kids. 6'4", 277. That's too small, too small, too small. All these guards are really little. Every single one. I think I'm going to bypass that. How about center? Here's a 2-star kid. We need somebody who is really smart. B is okay, but I think I'm going to move on for now. And that is it for Texas. Let me go to Mississippi. And I may have to go after some defensive players once it's all said and done. Let me go to quarterback here. Here's a 4.67 kid, 5'11", 196, Sal Strachan. Interesting. 4.67 is a what runs a that's a 78 speed. I'm gonna go ahead and recruit him. I think that's worth it. Halfback, no. Receiver, here's a 4-star. I'm not gonna bother. Tackle, 1-star kid, small and weak. Guard, 3-star, 6'20", 6'4", 296. Hey, I like this kid a lot. I'm gonna go ahead and go after him. Center, nothing. So what else do we got? Florida's another one. We'll go to Florida. We'll go all the way to quarterback. And let's look here. We got a 3-star kid, 4.88, which is not fast enough. I can go ahead and tell you it's not going to be. It's a 65 speed. All these guys are too slow, so I'm going to move on. Here are a bunch of more halfbacks. Like, here's some 3-star kids. It looks like it's from here to here. So these three. This kid's the strongest. This is the fastest. And this kid's the smartest of the two. Jackie Johnson. I kind of like this kid a whole lot. That awareness could help us out some. Like for pass protection, that type of thing. But you just don't know if these kids can catch the ball. I don't know. But what I do know, this guy can break a lot of tackles. He's not the fastest, though. This kid's much faster. Let me just move on for now. I'm already going after a few anyways. Let me see a couple of receivers. Here are a couple of 3-star kids, 6'6", 187, 4.52. This kid looks really... Oh, he's a 4-star. No wonder. 4.52, which is a what? That is a 82 speed. That is just not good at all. I need some speed here, and all the speedsters are the 4-star kids. Let's go back to offensive line. 3-star, this kid right here. Justin DeMarzo, 6'5", 310. He's smart. Again, pass protection. I'm going to go after him. Look at that, 692 on the squad. That's incredible. 4-star, 3. This kid right here looks pretty good as well. No, he's not. He's really small. We can't go after him. 2-star, 6'6", 316. See, this kid just looks better than him. And he's a 2-star kid. And he's much bigger. I may put one on him for now. Let's go to guard. How many guards we've gone after? We've just gone after one. Let's go down to here's a 3-star kid, 6'1", 344, A minus. Yes, Dorian. I'm not even gonna say that last name. Dorian G. Let's just call him that. Center. Can we have anybody? Here's a 3-star kid. This is more like it. A minus. He's much stronger than this kid right here. I think is a 1-star. Yes, we're gonna go after Sean Keefe. So we're down to 3 more players that we can go after. Should I go after a corner that I could find or a middle linebacker? Again, I think we're not going to have too hard of a time going after players at those positions in the offseason. I just really want to focus on offense. Let me go to Arkansas, see what was here. And if we can't find anybody here, then we'll go back to Louisiana, see what we can find. So here's a 3-star kid, tight end, I don't care, and 1-star. So there's not going to be anything from Arkansas. So what else do we got? We've went through everybody else, if I'm not mistaken. We've already went through Florida. We've gone after 4 different guys here. So we're going after a couple of tackles, a couple of guards, and a center. That's good. A couple of halfbacks, a wide receiver, and a quarterback. So these last 3 spots, we can just kind of go for it. And let's just go try to find... okay, let me just go ahead and go after some guards or some middle linebackers and corners. That's probably in my best interest to do so. So let me go here. Let me go back to Louisiana. And let me see what we have at a couple of those positions. Let me go to middle linebacker. 2-star, 2-star, corner, 4-star, not there. Let's go to Texas. Bunch of corners. Let me go to middle linebacker first. No middle linebackers. Corner. I'd like to have some height. 4'5'4" is really slow, and these guys aren't super tall. 5'11", 4'49". 6 feet. He's really slow. All these guys look pretty slow. Let's go over to Florida, or Mississippi. Let's go there next. 1-star, no middle linebacker. Let's go to Florida. Middle linebacker. Here's a couple of 3-star kids. This kid looks pretty good, but he's super slow. 4.79. Jeez, how slow is that? That's like a 70 speed. That is awful. And then what we got coming up next is a 4-star, so I can't do that. Let's go to corner. Here's some 3-star kids. 6'3", 184, but he's not smart at all. 5'9", 163. So you're just kind of taking a chance with a kid like that. I kind of want some smarts back there, to be honest. And a 4.47 is runs like 84 speed. That's just, he's so little. Oh, man. That's tough. He's really strong. But I don't know. That's just tough. I'm not excited about him. If I'm not excited about him, I don't want to recruit him. Let's go. I think I'm kind of done. I got 3 spots left. So what I want to do is let's go after a couple of other positions. I may need to do defensive. We got to think about the lines. Let's use what I said last season. Let's use regular season to really work on the line. So let's go to defensive ends and defensive tackles to round out the rest of it. So let's go back to Louisiana. 1 defensive end, 6'6", 260. He's a 4-star kid. I'm not going to bother. Let's go to Texas. No, let's go. I'm sorry. Let's go defensive tackle. None there. Let's go to Mississippi. No defensive ends or defensive tackles. Let's go over to Texas. Defensive ends. Here is a 3-star kid, 6'4", 267, and he's pretty smart. I kind of like that kid. He's not fast, but I don't really need him to be, but I need some size. Like this kid right here actually fits what I'm wanting to do, but this guy's stronger and he's smarter. He's just not as heavy. Corey Patu, is that how you say his name? I'm going to go ahead and put one on him for now. Let's go to defensive tackle. I need some size here, 6'3", 315, and some strength. Like here's a 2-star kid, 6'4", 303. A little bit stronger, kind of, sort of, but not as smart. So it may be best to go after DJ Smith. Let's do that. Now we're down to 1 spot left. Let me go over to Florida. And maybe we can find somebody good here. Defensive tackle, 6'2", 315. That looks pretty good. 620 on the squat. What about a defensive end? Is there a stud here I can get? 259, 248. None of these guys are really big enough. So I think I may go after this kid right here, Tim Hatcher. Okay, we are down to 0 scholarships, which means we are done because what we have next is our first game, and it's in week 0. So we can't do any recruiting of any sort. So let's just go ahead and look at New Mexico. there's no point looking at the team info screen. There's just nothing to see there. But that's who we got next. You know, nobody's played a game yet. Looks like it's an even matchup. They've lost 6 in a row from last year, so that must be pretty terrible. I didn't even really scout any of these teams, so hopefully we can get the win, start off the season right, and head into season 2 with a bang. All right, guys. I'll talk to you later.